I want you to imagine something for a moment. Somewhere in America, a person empties their pocket at the end of the day. A few quarters, a couple of pennies, and a worn-looking nickel land on the kitchen counter. Without a second thought, that nickel gets tossed into a jar filled with loose change. Months later, the jar is spent at a grocery store, and the coin disappears back into circulation forever. La Coin's world. Now imagine that same nickel was actually worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Sounds impossible? That's exactly why stories like this continue to fascinate collectors across the country, because hidden among ordinary pocket change are coins that most people overlook, but experienced collectors hunt relentlessly. And today, we're diving into one of the most mysterious and talked about examples in modern American numismatics, the 1964 mint mark Monticello Thomas Jefferson nickel. This isn't just another old 5-cent coin. It's a coin surrounded by rumors, rarity, unusual minting characteristics, and extraordinary market speculation. Some examples displaying the right combination of condition, provenance, and rarer traits have sparked conversations involving values that reach into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, with some estimates stretching as high as $781,000. The real question is this: if one of those nickels crossed your path tomorrow, would you recognize it before spending it? That single question separates spenders from collectors. Spenders see 5 cents, collectors see possibility, and sometimes possibility changes lives. To understand why this coin has captured so much attention, we need to travel back to one of the most important years in American coinage history. The year was 1964. America was experiencing major social and economic changes. At the same time, the United States Mint faced a growing coin shortage. Silver prices were rising. Collectors and speculators were hoarding coins. Demand for circulating coinage was exploding. The Mint responded by dramatically increasing production. Jefferson nickels were struck in enormous quantities during 1964. On the surface, that should make the coin common. After all, billions were produced. But here's where the story becomes fascinating. When production numbers become massive, opportunities for mistakes increase, die fatigue develops, minting equipment wears down, quality control struggles to keep pace, and hidden within mountains of ordinary nickels, a handful of extraordinary pieces emerge. These are the coins that collectors dream about. These are the coins that transform ordinary pocket change into auction house headlines. Before we go any further, take a moment right now and think about that jar of coins sitting somewhere in your house. You know the one, the jar everyone promises they'll sort through someday. What if someday should be today? Because many valuable discoveries happen not in museums or auctions, but in kitchen drawers and forgotten containers. Now let's talk about what makes certain 1964 mint mark Jefferson nickels so special. The first characteristic collectors examine is the mint mark itself. On 1964 nickels, the mint mark appears to the right of Monticello on the reverse side. Coins struck in Denver carry a D mint mark. Coins struck in San Francisco carry an S mint mark. Each mint produced subtle differences that advanced collectors study carefully. However, the real excitement begins when unusual minting errors enter the equation. One of the most sought-after varieties involves repunched mint marks. This occurs when the mint mark is punched into the die more than once at slightly different positions. Under magnification, collectors may observe doubling, shadow-like impressions, or misplaced elements surrounding the mint mark. These varieties can command substantial premiums because they represent a direct glimpse into the coin production process. Another highly desirable error is double die striking. This happens when the die itself receives multiple misaligned impressions during creation. The result can be visible doubling in lettering, design elements, or other details. To the untrained eye, it may look insignificant. To a serious collector, it can mean the difference between a 5-cent coin and a 4-figure treasure. Then there are die cracks, die chips, off-center strikes, struck-through errors, and the elusive combinations of multiple error characteristics appearing on the same coin. When rarity compounds rarity, values can rise dramatically. But here's where things become even more intriguing. Many experts describe some of the most exceptional 1964 mint Mark Jefferson nickels as ghost coins, not because they're imaginary, because they almost never appear. Collectors hear stories, auction records surface, private transactions occur behind closed doors, yet years can pass without another comparable specimen reaching the public market. In numismatics, scarcity drives value, visibility drives demand. When a coin possesses both scarcity and mystery, the collecting community pays attention, and attention fuels competition. Imagine two wealthy collectors chasing the same coin. Now imagine 10 collectors, or 20. Suddenly, value stops being about metal content. It becomes about ownership. It becomes about exclusivity. It becomes about who wants the coin most. And that is where extraordinary auction results are born. Here's something many people don't realize. Condition can be just as important as rarity. A common coin in poor condition may remain common, but an already rare coin preserved in extraordinary condition becomes something entirely different. Collectors use grading systems to evaluate preservation. Tiny differences in luster, strike quality, surface marks, and eye appeal can dramatically influence market value. A coin graded near the top of the population may become virtually irreplaceable. Think about that for a moment. Two nickels struck on the same day. One spent decades bouncing around pockets in cash registers. The other somehow survives untouched, retaining nearly flawless surfaces. One remains worth face value, the other becomes a trophy. The difference can be hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's the power of condition rarity. Now here's an attention reset. Go grab a nickel. Seriously, any nickel. Hold it in your hand. Feels ordinary, doesn't it? 5 cents, not enough to buy anything meaningful. Yet the entire rare coin market is built on the idea that appearances can be deceiving. Some of the most valuable coins ever discovered looked completely ordinary until someone took a closer look. History rewards curiosity. Collectors understand this better than anyone. Let's return to the 1964 mint Mark Jefferson nickel. Why has interest intensified in recent years? The answer lies in a powerful combination of factors. First, awareness has grown dramatically through online communities, auction platforms, and collector networks. Second, demand for rare American coinage remains strong. Third, investors increasingly view exceptional numismatic pieces as alternative assets. When traditional markets experience uncertainty, tangible collectibles often attract fresh attention, and unlike stocks or digital assets, a rare coin is something you can physically hold, a piece of history, a surviving artifact, a conversation starter, a store of value. For many collectors, that combination is irresistible. Market psychology also plays a major role. Every time a rare coin achieves an impressive auction result, headlines spread, collectors take notice, new buyers enter the market, interest expands, competition intensifies, and prices can climb. That's why stories involving potential values approaching $781,000 generate such excitement. Whether discussing elite condition examples, extraordinary error combinations, or unique provenance histories, numbers like these ignite imaginations. They remind people that remarkable discoveries still happen, that treasure hunting isn't limited to buried chests and pirate maps. Sometimes treasure hides in plain sight, sometimes treasure fits in your pocket, and sometimes treasure looks exactly like a nickel. But there's a warning every collector should remember. Not every 1964 mint Mark Jefferson nickel is valuable. Not every unusual mark is a genuine mint error. Not every online claim is accurate. Successful collectors rely on knowledge, authentication, and professional evaluation. That diligence separates genuine opportunities from costly mistakes. The smartest approach is always careful examination and verification. Look for unusual characteristics, study known varieties, compare details, seek expert opinions when necessary, because one authentic discovery can make all the effort worthwhile. As we approach the end of this story, consider the broader lesson hidden inside this small piece of metal. Most people move through life overlooking opportunities because they appear ordinary. Collectors train themselves differently. They look closer, they ask questions, they investigate details, and occasionally, they uncover something extraordinary. The 1964 mint Mark Monticello Thomas Jefferson nickel embodies that mindset perfectly. A humble coin, a forgotten denomination, a piece most Americans handle without a second glance. Yet under the right circumstances, with the right characteristics, and in the right condition, it can become one of the most fascinating treasures in modern coin collecting. Which brings us back to the question we asked at the beginning. If one of those nickels crossed your path tomorrow, would you recognize it, or would it disappear into circulation forever? That answer could mean the difference between spending 5 cents and discovering a life-changing collectible. So before you dismiss that jar of coins, that old coin album, or that forgotten box in the attic, take another look, because history has a habit of hiding where nobody expects it, and the next incredible discovery could already be sitting in your home right now. If you enjoyed this journey into the world of rare coins, make sure you're ready for what's coming next, because in our next episode, we'll uncover an even more elusive American coin, a piece so rare and so misunderstood that many collectors have searched for decades without ever finding one. And when you hear what a single example has sold for, you may never look at your pocket change the same way again.